is said that St. Anthony the Great stated, "A time will come when the whole world will go insane, and to anyone who is not insane they will say, 'You're insane, for you are not like us.'" Jesus gave the disciples a new commandment. If they walked in it, others would automatically know that they were in fact followers of Jesus. Do you know which commandment that was? Hello, my name is Kathy, and I'm excited to talk about the insane. Well, insane according to some anyway. But before we begin, I just want to give you a reminder to hit the like and subscribe buttons and share this video with fellow sojourners if you would. So today we're looking at how Jesus told his disciples to behave, and it would be by this behavior that others would know that they did in fact follow Jesus. And I think this may have been a hard pill to swallow, since they often did not grasp Jesus' message of all-encompassing nonviolent love. Kind of like us today, I dare say. So let's get started and find out exactly what Jesus said that might be seen as a little insane. In a time filled with judgment and law, again, not so unlike today, Jesus told his disciples that he was giving them a new commandment. They were to love one another as he loved them. And who is one another? Well, everyone that's not you. Now, the twist on this commandment compared to love your neighbor as yourself is Jesus specifically says, "Love as I have loved you," which was unconditional and sacrificial. This commandment of unconditional love and sacrifice must have been viewed as insane, which just means not of sound mind. And of course, Jesus was actually accused of being insane on more than one occasion. So, love one another? No conditions attached? What is he saying? That's crazy. What about those who persecute us? What about those who lay heavy burdens on the poor? Love those who are not like us? I don't know about that. However, Jesus was not the first in Jewish and Christian scriptures to be seen as off-center, so to speak. Imagine for just a moment living in an area where for miles around all you see is land. And one morning you wake up and you find your neighbor building a huge boat in his or her backyard. Your first thought, that's crazy. And you might get a legal injunction to stop this insane project, especially since it would make the value of the houses in the area plummet. And what about the guy that God spoke to from a bush that was burning, but it wasn't consumed? Moses knew he would be seen as insane, and he wanted none of it, and tried to talk God out of sending him to Egypt. Then there is the man who refused to curse God, in spite of the fact that he lost family, home, livestock, and health. And his friends out and out told him he was crazy for continuing to have faith and to love God. And then you have David. Before he was king, he spared the life of Saul twice, even though Saul was trying to kill him. Sparing the life of your would-be assassin is surely insane. And then there's Ruth. When her husband died, she decided to stay with Naomi rather than marry her brother-in-law. All of Bethlehem talked. They must have seen Ruth as insane, since Naomi had no way of supporting and caring for her. They could not grasp the kind of love and devotion Ruth had for Naomi. We also have the Shunammite woman, who added a room to her house for a complete stranger to be able to stay and rest and pray when he traveled through town. How must others have seen her hospitality toward Elisha? How would you view someone doing the same thing today? And then there's John the Baptist, who comes out of the wilderness. Who knows what he looked like? And he lived on locusts and honey. We would surely call this insane, and then we would alert the authorities. What about the young woman who has never known a man, yet is pregnant with a son? Mary may well have thought herself to be insane at times. And there's also the woman forced by oppressive laws to draw water from a well in the heat of the day. She runs back to town and tells everyone that she personally spoke to the Messiah. Well, everyone was unsure of this outcast. She must be crazy. So they went to see for themselves. And then in the violent and chaotic times of the 3rd and 4th centuries, many Abbas and Ammas could have been seen as insane because they spoke of love, self-denial, non-judgmentalism, and living above those things that distract you from God. Avarice, slothfulness, gluttony, and things like that. In the 6th century, St. Benedict wrote a little rule for beginners that by many must have been seen as impossible. Walk in humility. Welcome the stranger. Personal wealth has no status? Wow, how crazy is that? And then in modernity, we have Gandhi, Mother Teresa, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, Martin Luther King Jr., and Malala, to name a few. They left many people scratching their head. And of course, in hindsight, we see them as great and wise people. And let us not forget the thousands of unnamed African Americans who were physically beaten and removed from sit-ins because they dared to believe in their own worth and equality. Remember Harvey Milk and the like, who refused to pretend to be anyone other than who they were. Many people question why they risked success in life when they could have just passed for straight. Pure insanity. But insanity does not have to be on a grand scale. I imagine none of those mentioned planned on being remembered in history as great, or being remembered at all for that matter. Their greatness, their insanity, if you will, began small. So what small insanities can we begin with today? Perhaps being patient with someone undeserving, being kind when kindness may not appear to be in order, not keeping up with the Joneses, foregoing rudeness even though someone is rude to you, not insisting on having your own way, not being irritable when we think we have every right to be, making sure resentment is not part of our lives even when it appears to be well-founded, being the last to speak or not speaking at all rather than leading the conversation. Surely these are behaviors that are not of sound mind. So what can we take away from this? Well, here are a few things to think about. 1, think of a person that you see as a little insane because they have some ideas that seem off or extreme to you. 2, what about their ideas is disconcerting for you? 3, disengage your emotions from around this and what they're saying and look at it logically. Does any of it make sense? Now look at it with your heart of God. Now how do you see the person? 4, when in your life do you think you have been looked at as somewhat off center? How did you feel? And what were your thoughts surrounding this? And 5, do you fear being seen as insane about something that you feel led to participate in? Are you worried about sharing your faith and maybe being seen as radical? Or is your faith so status quo that you would never be seen as insane? So, what do you think? Are you willing to love as Jesus loves you? Present tense, loves. Not loved as in his crucifixion. Jesus loved in many ways long before and after his death. And the whole of the Trinity loves you today in concrete ways that you may not even recognize. And if you're not quite sure how to walk in the Jesus kind of love, just read the Gospels and imagine yourself there and see what you learn. People just might start seeing you as insane. Wouldn't that be nice? Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons and share the video with family and friends. Until next time, go do something for love that may be seen as just a little cray-cray. Again, thank you so much.